Hey, it's Bobby Bones with some exciting news. Open booking is here for the Top Shelf Country Cruise, setting sail February 2026 aboard the luxurious Celebrity Reflection. Spots are filling up fast, so book your stateroom today or sign up to become a lineup insider to receive the final lineup 48 hours prior to the public. Don't miss your chance to make February 2026 unforgettable. Visit TopShelfCountryCruise.com. That's TopShelfCountryCruise.com.
Lowe's knows that free is just better. That's why MyLowe's Rewards is free to join. As a member, you earn points towards MyLowe's money on eligible purchases, get exclusive free gifts, and earn free shipping at Silver Key status, all on top of weekly member-only deals. Don't wait. Join MyLowe's Rewards for free today and start saving more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
I just don't even understand why you'd call it paternity leave if you didn't have the kid yet, though. Like, why?
Yeah, that's just not going to work today, right? That's just not, what?
Yeah. It's more like that than paternity leave, that's for sure. I think that it's not going to work is what I would call it. Yeah.
Okay, I get it, but I don't think we have to watch all of them again, right?
I mean, we don't have to, but I mean,
Hey, Heath.
Oh, thank fucking God you guys are here.
Hey guys, you pretty excited about today's essay?
Whoa, clearly not as excited as you.
Are these that
all the surviving costumes Hedy Lamarr wore between 1942 and 1947? Yes.
That's not what I was going to ask you about, but that's pretty weird too.
Hey, why are the insides of these shoes sticky?
Because sometimes old shoes are sticky on the inside, Tom. It happens.
No.
The old shoes.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So, Noah, I'm sorry if this seems out of line, but you seem kind of to be secretly obsessed with a woman who was 62 years old when you were born. I don't
know if I'd say secretly.
Openly?
Shoes
but
don't
yes.
say
Guys,
secret.
look, of course I love Hedy Lamarr. Sure, she was one of the most beautiful and glamorous women in the history of Hollywood, but she was also a brilliant inventor, a great actor, an icon of feminine autonomy, a shrewd investor, and a fucking genius.
Yeah, okay, And which of those qualities were you thinking when you were fucking that shoe? Which one of those?
I don't see how that's any of your business at all, Cecil.
Hello and welcome to Citation Needed, a podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts, because this is the internet, and that's how it works now. I'm Heath, and this one goes out to all the sapiosexuals out there. Also, just all the different other sexuals, and I'm joined by three men who are so much more than just the glamorous, beautiful faces of podcasting that you know them for. Cecil, Tom, and Noah.
Looking forward to another 30 emails about how my face and body don't match my voice. This is going to be great. I can't wait.
Shit, my face and body don't match each other. I look like I borrowed them both. And I'm not sure how they work or where they were from.
Yeah, no.
Are you Photoshop?
MS Painted.
It's weird for me. Everybody always tells me I sound bald. I'm the one guy in podcasting with hair. I don't get it.
That's just a way to say depressed. You sound depressed.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's probably it.
So, tell us, Cecil, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event are we going to be talking about today?
Today we're going to be talking about film actress and genius Hedy Lamarr.
Fantastic. And Noah, you clearly own a rare copy of an erotic Buster Keaton movie that made you think of this. Are you ready to tell us all about Hedy Lamarr?
Okay. First of all, Heath, all Buster Keaton movies are erotic if you properly appreciate physical comedy. And secondly, you bet your ass I am.
Buster sexual. Awesome. Okay. And I know I ask you this a lot, but why though? Why?
That's fair. Well, okay. So partly because no matter how intimidating the emails are, there is no opposite of the Etruscans for me to do an essay about, Tom.
Because you're not even trying, nor are you reading the emails. It's ultimatums.
Snack Surte.
But also, because I fucking love Hedy Lamarr. Okay. Back in her day, she was billed as the most beautiful woman in the world, and not many people were arguing with that, but she was so much more than a star of stage and screen and a beautiful woman. She was also a classically trained pianist. She spoke 4 languages to like a native level. She amassed a personal fortune of about $1/3 billion in today's money. She's an inductee to the National Inventors Hall of Fame. In fact, everyone listening to this show is carrying one of her inventions around with them. Hell, at least one. She's like the fucking Leonardo da Vinci was smoking hot.
Okay. Just throwing shade at Da Vinci right away. Weird. Okay.
Yeah, no shit. Like, raise 4 hands if you'd fuck Da Vinci.
About fucking time someone took Leo da Vinci down a peg. There you go, everybody.
Right? Yeah, exactly. All right, so Hedwig Kiesler was born in 1914 in Vienna, right as World War I was getting ramped up. Her father was a successful bank manager, and her mother was a pianist. Both her father and mother came from Jewish families, but they converted to Catholicism because God isn't real, and Vienna was crazy anti-Semitic.
Well, that's an interesting choice if you're looking for something less anti-Semitic, but okay, that's fine. Sure.
So, of course, back then, Vienna was one of the world's centers of art and culture. It wasn't exactly bohemian, but it was like, it's 100 miles shy of it. So naturally, Hedy grew up wanting to be an actor. So at the age of 16, she shows up at a movie lot with a forged parental permission note and applies for a job as a script girl. I got to admit, I had no idea what that meant. Apparently, it's an early sexist term for script supervisor. But it doesn't much matter because Hedy didn't know what it meant either. She just knew there was such a job as script girl. She was a girl, so she figured she was probably qualified for it.
Yeah, you're very qualified. You'll be working right under worst boy in the chain of command. So enjoy that. We are very misogynist.
How does that even... Hey, Joe, there's a teenager here who wants to supervise the script. What? Yeah, of course she's got a permission slip. Don't be an idiot.
Yeah, right. No, but the question they would then ask is, how are her gams? Right? And in Hedy's case, they hired her on the fucking spot. At that point, of course, she has to tell her parents for realsies, but there's every indication that she had her dad wrapped around her little finger, so that was a pretty easy sell. So she goes to work for this little Viennese outfit called Sasha Films, and she's a script girl for all of 3 days before somebody's like, wow, she's way too pretty to be on this side of the camera. So she's pretty much immediately taking small roles. In fact, she got the job in 1930. By 1931, she's appearing in her first of 3 movies with Peter Lorre.
Wow. Quickly turning into a postscript girl. Good for her. Good for her.
I feel like we're on the wrong side of the microphone for how attractive we are.
That's not enough. People agree. So she moved her way up the ladder of Austrian film pretty quickly because it turned out that in addition to being gorgeous, she also could really fucking act. Pretty soon she catches the attention of Max Reinhardt, probably the most influential German director ever to live. He convinces her to come to Berlin, and while he never cast her in any of his movies, she did really well in the Berlin movie scene regardless.
Okay. Feels like that's a euphemism for something like, did really well in the Berlin movie scene.
Yeah, the parting words of her father still ringing in her ears. Honey, if they ask you to take your top off, get the money first.
Yeah. Oh, if only her dad had thought to tell her that. So at the age of 18, asterisk, pin in that, she lands a role in a movie called Ecstasy. And this one would make her famous, but more in an infamous kind of way. This is 1933. And of course, movies were a lot more conservative then than they are now. Less so in Germany and Austria than in America. But still, you didn't see things like boobs in movies back then. But you saw Hedy's in Ecstasy. And far more controversial than the brief nude scenes in the movie was a close-up shot of her face having an orgasm, which was downright fucking scandalous by the standard of the day. In fact, that sequence is widely believed to be cinema's first sex scene.
Yeah, I can see people getting upset, especially women getting upset about that, though. There's no way women of the day could compete with that. A trained actor faking an orgasm? That's hard to do.
You know, the scene wasn't even all that controversial until she started squirting and showing off. It was just...
Jesus Christ.
When Hedy met Sally.
There's all these people in the theater. I'll have what she's having.
Yeah. All right, so couple of quick notes on Ecstasy. First of all, she almost certainly was not 18 when it was filmed, which made the nude scenes illegal even back then. What's more, the director at least some stories suggest that the director tricked her into doing the scenes by telling her that, like, oh yeah, but you're going to be way far from the camera. We're just going to barely kind of see the outline of you. But then, she didn't know about high-powered telephoto lenses at the time, so she believed him. Also, and I only include this detail because it's so fucking weird, the infamous orgasm scene was achieved by pricking her with a pin.
Pin in that.
Because apparently...
I get it now. Fuck.
But apparently the men of the 30s did not know the difference between orgasm face and stop sticking me with that face. So
yeah, right. God, that's so stupid. Okay, let's all tell each other what a woman looks like having a real orgasm. You guys go first, though. You're first.
Oz holding the Hitachi wand by herself in her room. Right?
No, not
I love that she has her
necessarily
own room.
by herself. Yes. Sometimes she lets me watch.
As if female orgasms are as imaginary as the clit. I reject the whole premise.
All right, let's throw it out.
How would you?
All right, so for a lot of actresses, that would have been the end of her career, right? She was disillusioned by the director's deceit. Her family was shocked and embarrassed, and she gained international notoriety when the movie was banned in the U.S. for its overt sexuality. It was also banned in Germany because of Hedy's Jewish heritage, but that's a different story altogether. But the key here is that through most of Europe, that movie was a smash fucking hit. Right, the more sophisticated and less prudish European audiences saw the movie as like an artistic and progressively feminist statement as it was intended to be.
Yeah, and then there were also hundreds of European women bringing their husbands to the movies and pointing at the screen like, there, like that. When I do that, then it was good for me. Until then, stop fucking asking.
He's just standing there poking her with a pin. Okay,
Yeah, right,
fine. Here you go.
Now get out your little prick and get this done.
All right, so the movie also caught the attention of a suitor who became infatuated with Hedy. That's Friedrich Fritz Mandl. He was the heir to a munitions fortune and the chairman of one of Austria's largest armament firms. He was reported at the time to be the third wealthiest man in Austria. So he starts showing up at this play that she's been cast in. He's there every night pestering her and hounding her no matter how many times she says no, which was called dating back then. So eventually the two became engaged.
Boomboxes weren't invented yet, so this guy just stood outside her window waving his bank statement over his head.
Hey, say what you will. That still works. That is
That's actually really close to what happened.
Pay anything.
All right, so her parents didn't approve. They both still had the Jewish heritage thing going on, and Mandel had ties to Mussolini and eventually Hitler. He's basically the definition of a fucking movie villain, but she marries him anyway. She's all 18 years old. He's 33, and by every account, he's a controlling asshole.
Oh, you don't say. The obsessive 33-year-old who saw a naked teenager on screen and then stalked her turned out to not to be like woke Prince Charming.
Okay, strangely enough.
What?
Yeah. So no, you'll love this, Tom. One of his first acts as her newly minted husband was to piss away over $300,000 in then money trying to buy up and destroy every copy of Ecstasy in circulation.
Wow. That's an awkward conversation for a bunch of that buying. Just like, yeah, I'm buying $300,000 in child porn, but I'm destroying it. I am.
All right, so for a while, she's happy in the lap of luxury, but Mandel won't let her pursue her career. He controls every aspect of her life. He's petty. He's jealous. He takes her out to dinner and berates her if he thinks she's checking out some better-looking guy at the next table. So before long, she's over the marriage shit. But she can't exactly walk out on the guy. He's the third richest man in Austria. He's at least close enough with Mussolini that the Italian dictator had dined in their home.
God damn.
Right? He's a crazy powerful guy. So to leave, she's going to need to employ a bit of cunning, which is fine because if there's anything she has to spare, it's cunning.
And you said she was multilingual, so cunning linguist then.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I was also thinking about every minute of this essay. So, okay. So
I was thinking
there
about
are
the
two-
science and the articles.
So there are two versions of the story, right? There's the one that Hedy told and the one that actually happened. Or actually, more precisely, there's like a million versions because she never told it the same way twice. But the story that turned into legend is that she found a maid that was about her height and her build, and she studied her every movement. She's an actor, right? That's her skill. She's honed this for years. So once she'd perfected that maid's gait and mannerisms, she drugs her coffee, steals her clothes, and sneaks out of the house at the end of her shift wearing some jewels under the clothes that she can like sell later to get ticket money to go to Paris.
Yeah, and she practiced that move by swapping out a dead goldfish with a new one. So the maid was really just an issue of scale.
Yeah, exactly. The same principle. So the real story, actually, to me, is way cooler. Unbeknownst to her husband and all the fascist heads of state that he entertained, Hedy was fucking brilliant. Right? She's this 18, 19-year-old girl just sitting around in a room where Austrian arms dealers just talk about all the latest and greatest and cutting-edge military technology. These assholes assumed that because she didn't have a penis, she had no idea what they were talking about. So the real story is far more likely something like she told him she wanted to leave. He said no, and she said, I bet your competitors would love to know how you're working out that latency problem on your new glide bombs. And he said, so you thinking alimony or...
Hey, explain my latency thing one more time, just so I know that you know what we're all talking about.
All right, so, but why the elaborate lie, right? Why make yourself out to be this helpless damsel in distress when the real story is that you just outsmarted your comic book villain husband? Because she wanted to work in fucking Hollywood. And having shown a camera her boobs already gave her a bad reputation. Divorcing her husband simply because she didn't enjoy him telling her what to do would have never flown with American audiences. So even the story she was telling was her way of outsmarting the men around her.
Like, way ahead of time. I love it. Just like, yeah, okay, guys, I'll be waiting in the truck. Go wait in the... Oh, what? Fuck, okay.
Exactly right.
She outsmarted me.
So, armed with her divorce, she gets the fuck out of Austria. This is 1936. Hitler had already risen to power next door. The war was looming, and everybody with the means to get the fuck out of Austria was doing so, especially the ones with Jewish heritage. Of course, there were strict rules about how much money you could take with you, so she stocks up on her jewels and her furs, and she heads to London.
The war will never come to London. You hear that up there?
Yeah, no, she kept going. She kept going. Okay, so it's in London where she meets Louis B. Mayer. He's in Europe trying to like scout for some talent. He is, of course, the M in MGM. No, I mean, not that one, obviously. That's Metro. That's not a person, but he's the other one, right? So he offers her a contract making $125 a week, which is basically like minimum wage for actors at the time. She turns his ass down. Because she's Hedy fucking Lamarr, or actually she's still Hedy Kiesler, but that was about to change. With no contract, she finds out which ocean liner Mayer has taken home, and she books herself on the same one. Then she spends the trip charming every fucking guy on the boat and just wandering back and forth past Louis B. Mayer over and over, always with a gaggle of would-be suitors in her wake trying to light her cigarette and shit. So by the end of the trip, he's upped the offer to $500 a week, which she takes.
Okay. So I've been picturing female Bugs Bunny this whole time. This confirms it. That's female Bugs Bunny. She's fucking amazing.
Yep. Yeah. So now it's at this point that she gets her new name as well. Partly it's because Kiesler sounded German and folks in the U.S. were liking Germans less and less those days. But a big part of it also was because they didn't want people to think of her as that girl from Ecstasy. Apparently Louis B. Mayer's wife suggested Lamarr in homage to an actress named Barbara Lamarr who died when she was in her 20s, probably because Louis B. Mayer's wife hoped she'd fuck off and die.
Lamarr, huh? Sounds good. But you need a first name with some sex appeal to it, though. How's Hedy? Hedy.
Yeah, right. Now, I want to point out the confidence that this woman just fucking showed. She gets on the boat to America. She doesn't have any friends there. She doesn't have very much money, and at least at the fucking beginning of the trip, she doesn't even have a contract. She does not even speak English at this point. But sure enough, by the time she reached America's shores, MGM Studios was already billing the newly christened Hedy Lamarr as the most beautiful woman in the world.
This is fantastic. So, right? She outsmarted an international arms baron, escaped the Nazis, and then Louis Mayer of MGM agreed not to shoot her now and wait till they get home. And also pay her about $9,000 a week in today's money.
Yeah. Yep.
Hedy Lamarr is a real life Bugs Bunny, and I love her. And there's so much more to come. But first, we're going to take a quick break for some apropos of nothing.
coming to theaters in the summer of 1934.
Why, Ava, you look so dashing in that beekeeper's outfit, and it's so revealing.
Oh, would you look at that? I've gone and torn the leg. My ankle is just entirely exposed.
Comes a movie about a scandalous affair.
Are you telling me they drove from the restaurant to the theater unchaperoned?
That's not the worst of it, Carl. She was wearing a pantsuit. Pantsuit, Carl. And reading a newspaper.
The fashion section?
No, Carl.
Get ready for the film banned in cinemas around the world. Almost Visible Side Boob. A romance.
How did people even know how to fuck back then?
And we're back. When we left off, Hedy Lamarr was throwing a really slow pitch that made the sound of a car stalling, and the entire patriarchy was swinging wildly and missing over and over and over. And she was about to get rich and famous. What's next?
Yeah, okay, so Hedy arrives in America, sets about learning to speak English, which would be her fourth fucking language, and losing weight, because America's obsession with unhealthy amounts of thin was already in full swing at this point. She got her first starring role in the 1938 movie Algiers. It was the first of many times she would play the exotic foreign seductress, and she was a fucking sensation. American audiences loved her. Women started, everybody wanted to be blonde before that. All the women started dyeing their hair black, parting it in the middle the way she did. When women went to plastic surgeons, she was the most requested profile. Now, she goes on to star in a bunch of fucking movies and be a movie star and shit, and that's interesting in its own right. But it's going to kind of shift to the background of this story, because while she was busy being one of the most glamorous women in the world, she was also working on a new type of radio-guided torpedo to help the Allies win the war.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, which is at the very least atypical.
Yeah, and a little unfair. When I work in my private munitions lab, I get the all-expense-paid Cuban vacation. You know? I'm just saying, attractiveness privilege. It rears its beautiful head, people.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Sexism goes both ways, guys. Both ways. Okay, so I should also point out that Hedy Lamarr hated being billed as the most beautiful woman in the world, because while she could legit make that claim, it really sold her short. She famously quipped, quote, and I love this quote so goddamn much, "Any girl can be glamorous. You just have to stand still and look stupid."
That's fantastic. And every director in Hollywood was like, yes, I couldn't put my finger on it. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's what, all right, write that in the script. That's it. There you go.
Right. So sure, yes, she did all the glamorous shit, but she was also a fucking genius. Like, Howard Hughes dated a lot of movie stars. Hedy was the only one that improved his aviation designs while they were dating.
Nice.
Yeah, no, she was like, she actually was the one that kind of pointed him towards birds and said, hey, they should be shaped like this. So when the war broke out, she decided there was more important shit for her to do than just make movies. All right, so the impetus for her to get involved was something that hit a lot of Americans pretty hard. In the lead up to the Battle of Britain, a bunch of ships went out trying to ferry children away from the island nation in advance of the German Blitz. One of those ships was the SS City of Benares, I don't know, weird spelling.
Benares.
Yeah, there you go. Which was, thank you, Eli, which was hit by a German torpedo in September of 1940. 260 of 407 people on board, including 80 children. Now, Hedy mourned those kids right along with the rest of her newly adopted country, but when she was done mourning, Hedy decided to torpedo those motherfuckers back. So Hedy didn't have much in the way of formal education, what with dropping out of school at 16 to be an actress, but she taught herself quite a bit. And one of her passions was invention. She made up all kinds of shit. She invented an improved traffic light. She invented a device to help mobility impaired people get in and out of the tub. She made breakthroughs in plastic surgery. She invented a little cube you could drop in a glass of water to make carbonated soda. And on top of that, she also spent a couple of years completely immersed in the world of munitions. Right? She knew the ins and outs of that business, up to and including classified Australian weapons development. So as weird as it sounds to say a Hollywood superstar decided, I'm going to design a better torpedo, she was actually weirdly qualified to do exactly that.
Hey, I got an idea for you, Mr. Meyer. What if we make a movie about a woman who invents a torpedo to kill Nazis? How cool is that? Or I could just stand still and look stupid. That'll be $9,000, please. You're so
All right.
fucking dumb.
So now, I'm sorry, I'm going to get really nerdy on this. I apologize. I love this fucking story so much. So here's the problem she set out to solve. Torpedoes weren't super effective if you couldn't steer them, right? There's only so fast you can get a projectile going underwater. It's not like a fucking bullet. The targets can move out of the way, and they do. Honestly, at this point, just zigzagging here and there was often plenty to thwart uncontrolled torpedoes. So modern torpedoes had to be navigable, which means that you need to communicate with them after you launch them. One option, of course, is to run a wire behind the torpedo all the way to the ship that's firing it, but that's fucking silly, right? The other is to use radio. The problem with radio is that there are only so many frequencies, and once your enemy figures out which one you're using, they'll just jam the damn thing.
Well, there is a third way, but you need a major to ride it in a battle. He's got to ride it like a horse.
The problem with that, Cecil, it's hell to try to hang on to your cowboy hat underwater.
That's
It's
true.
Right, yeah. No.
And sharks. That's the other problem. Sharks.
Well, also sharks. So Hedy's idea is to change the frequency in both the sending and receiving unit in unison. Right, so both the torpedo and the steering device are coded with which frequencies to use when, and without knowing which frequencies they're about to shift to, you can't jam the thing. And if you just thought to yourself, oh, you mean like how a cell phone works, you're starting to see why Hedy Lamarr is in the Inventors Hall of Fame.
Ah, cell phone. Celebrity phone. I get it now. Sorry, Eli's not here and someone had to say something incredibly stupid this episode, so I thought I'd jump on that grenade.
All right, good work. And I'll lie and pretend I've read a book by Proust. Check. Okay. What else does Eli do?
He
thinking.
No, he doesn't think.
Yeah.
Great, moving on.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So to make her invention work,
John Benet Ramsey.
all right. So to make her invention work and to make it patentable, she enlists the help of a composer named George Antheil. He was a pioneer in electronic music, and at the time he was known for this ambitious project where he tried to synchronize a bunch of player pianos in a concert.
He's like 1940s Skrillex.
He really was, actually.
Unlistenable without massive amounts of drugs.
Okay.
I thought we
Actually,
were doing this
exactly,
Jeopardy.
yes.
Yep.
You have just exactly explained the fucking ballet mechanic. Okay, so now at this time, the government had an office called the National Inventors Council, and the goal was to give American citizens that had ideas on how to improve the war effort one central place to submit their inventions, because up until then, people would literally just mail it to the White House.
Here's a bomb. Try it out, guys.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
I invented this white powder. Check it out, guys.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Check this stuff out.
All right, so Hedy and Antheil tell the council about this concept, and pretty much right away, the NIC see the utility of it. Of course, they don't build a fucking torpedo to demonstrate it, but they demonstrate the principle using what amounts to two small player piano reels to tell a sender and receiver what frequencies to shift to. Okay, so of course the government immediately classifies the fuck out of this idea, right? And some word of that leaks to the press. So the New York Times ends up running this story that says, like, Hollywood superstar Hedy Lamarr has invented something so crucial to the war effort we can't tell you what it is, right? Because like since it's classified, that's all they can do in terms of details. So when they submit for the patent, in hopes of avoiding charges that it only went through because of her celebrity, she files it under the name Kiesler instead of Lamarr, even though Lamarr was her legal name at that point. The patent is granted in 1942. So at this point, all they have left to do is sell the invention. And of course, there's only one potential buyer for this classified information. That would be the U.S. Navy. And the U.S. Navy has really, really shitty torpedoes and really needs the help.
Yeah, the one buyer thing does make sense. I mean, like, it'd be weird if anybody else was like, well, I want torpedoes. I could use some. Nobody asked me. Left out.
None of your business.
Right? I'm just saying, Carnival said it was all you can eat. They ran out of pineapples. All right, so seriously though, like, our torpedoes were so bad at the beginning of World War II. I know it's a weird, like, how bad were they kind of a setup, but it was not at all uncommon for Japanese ships to come into port with unexploded American torpedoes sticking out of them.
They just like steam sheepishly into port, like with it sticking, like a toilet paper stuck to their shoe. You just, oh man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. But they were still resistant to any idea that came from outside the military, and they were even more resistant to ideas that came from women. So they decided they didn't want this, and since nobody else is buying torpedoes in the U.S., Lamarr and Antiel shrug their shoulders and just go about their lives.
American torpedoes were terrible. Load another torpedo.
Sir, I'm just not sure the torpedo trebuchet is that effective.
Oh, is that so, Ensign? You just want to go back to using the torpedo catapult then?
No. I don't want to use that
then
either.
Load the
It's
damn
just-
torpedo in the
okay.
trebuchet and pour some gas on this one and light it on fire.
Okay, but it's gonna hit the water.
That's an order, Ensign.
Okay.
It's so close to that. All right, but here's the thing. What they just invented was frequency hopping spread spectrum technology. This is one of the foundational technologies behind cell phones, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, anything that where like a lot of people need to communicate by radio without interfering with each other, right? They didn't see all the future uses of it, but they understood that there were going to be a bunch of future uses in communication, and their original patent application makes that clear.
I like that it's called FST, if it's an acronym.
All right, so the patent stayed classified and expired after 17 years, as these things do. But during that time, the Navy did pursue the technology, and they based that pursuit on the Keesler-Antiel patent application.
Yeah, okay, but they also just wanted to make sure it came from a man, right? So they're just like, okay, great invention. It's going to save a lot of our boys. One last detail before we sign off. Let's see the inventor's penis. We're going to need to see the penis.
Right? Yes. Yeah, right. So fast forward a couple decades. George Antiel becomes one of the most celebrated composers in America. Hedy Lamarr stars in Cecil B. DeMille's Samson and Delilah, her most successful role, and then kind of forgets about this patent. So by the time this technology is declassified, the patent's expired. Basically, Hedy Lamarr learns about the success of her invention when she starts seeing it in early cell phone technology. Neither her nor Antiel ever received a dime for their contribution. And by the way, their contribution has been estimated to be worth some like $30 billion a year right now.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So in all, Lamarr would mow through 6 marriages in her life. There's some sad shit at the end where her career declines and she gets arrested for shoplifting $20 worth of laxatives and eye drops. But eventually, her enormous contribution to modern wireless tech was recognized.
What's happening to her that day that she needs laxatives and eye
I've
drops?
wondered about that for most of my life, Heath. Right?
It's a weird day.
That bad, right? That bad. All right, so in 1997, her and Antiel were jointly awarded the Electronic Frontier Foundation's Pioneer Award, and in the same year, she became the first woman to ever receive the Bowlby NAS Spirit of Achievement Award, which is often called the Oscar of Inventing. She was 85 years old at the time, and while she didn't receive the award in person, she did record a brief acceptance speech that basically just said, hey, it's about fucking time, guys. Come on.
Yeah, but the award show swag bag they gave her was just Visine and Miralax. So, they got it back.
Also, okay, and I have to add this little bit here because it's the greatest piece of trivia in the fucking world, and I couldn't fit it anywhere else in the episode. According to multiple sources, Hedy Lamarr was, first of all, she was the basis for Disney's Snow White. Like physically, definitely not personality-wise, or she'd have made Prince Charming sign a fucking prenup. But they basically said, like, breast size, waist size, hip size, everything they wanted them to they told the cartoonists to draw her like Hedy Lamarr. But both her personality and appearance were the inspiration for none other than the queen of comic book femme fatales, Catwoman.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Pretty fucking awesome.
All right. If you had to summarize what you've learned today in one sentence, what would it be?
When Eli stands still, he's glamorous. I have no idea.
Nice.
He always has the mouth agape, so it goes with... yeah, that's good. Yeah. All right. And are you ready for the quiz?
I am ready for my close-up, sir.
All right, Noah. Hedy Lamarr proves which old adage? A, money can't buy you happiness if you have to fuck a Nazi for it. Or B, just pricking a woman isn't going to get the job done unless she fakes it.
I'm going to have to go with C, all of the above.
All of the above it was.
All right, Noah, which of the following is the best weapon invented by Hedy Lamarr to attack directors who trick underage kids into doing porn because they're assholes?
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A, the George Pellet gun.
That's good.
It's a lot more aggressive than it sounds. B, the torpedo.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Or C, the sexual predator drone.
Oh, nice. Well, that's obviously you're trying to trick me in there with torpedoes. We've just been talking about torpedoes this entire time, but it is in fact C, the sexual predator drone. I did my
Correct. Well done.
All right, Noah, what other celebrity also profited off a sexy name? A, Clit Greasewood. B, Tom Yanks. C, Woody Sherrilston. Or D, Oral Roberts.
All right, well, God, he had nothing else going for him. It must be D, Oral Roberts.
Oh, I am sorry. It is Clit Greasewood.
I'm
very
good
sorry.
misdirect. I thought it
Very
was Oral
sorry.
Roberts.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Well done. All right, Cecil. You stumped him. You're the winner.
I guess I'm going to choose myself, which is weird. I shouldn't be choosing myself.
Yeah, no,
but I
that doesn't
will.
make sense
Doesn't
at all,
make sense,
does it?
does it? But someone else will be the host, I'm sure. So I'll do something fun.
Why can't you choose yourself? I don't know.
Because I'm supposed to choose. The host is supposed to choose the essayist. So if I'm the essayist, I have to.
It's only been 166
Yeah.
episodes. I see why this is still confusing.
I think it literally doesn't matter at all, and there's no reason that Cecil can't choose himself, is what I'm saying. All right, well, for Tom, Noah, Cecil, and Eli, who's not quite here, but for Eli too, I guess, I'm Heath. Thank you for hanging out with us today.
Not for Eli. No.
We'll be back next week, and by then, Cecil will be an expert on something else because he chose himself.
and the host,
reasonably.
too.
Between now and then, you can hear Tom and Cecil on Cognitive Dissonance, and you can hear Eli, Noah, and myself on God Awful Movies, The Scathing Atheist, The Skeptocrat, and D&D Minus. And if you'd like to pay what you get for, you can make a per-episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod. If you'd like to get in touch with us, listen to past episodes, connect with us on social media, or take a look at show notes, check out citationpod.com.